Yeah. You dance on my skirt or your collar. Red light is winding on my head. Hope the blue light the first. But the times their entrance into the netherworld together are ancestors. What did you have to happy together? What did they do? Let's find out between it was together. And this is one a little longer. A little bit. You brought me to my house. I went to your house. To your little room that breathes you. You kissed me so softly. My thighs and in between. You looked into my eyes and scratched my throat. I tried to resist, but I tripped and fell into your arms. You rocked me to sleep with your legs, with my legs wrapped around you. When I awoke, you were in the bathroom. I looked around your room some more to see you a little deeper. Then I saw a calendar. The picture was blurry as I just woken up, and as I got closer, I could make out a body. A naked, tied-up body with perfect ass. Up until this point, it didn't seem real. A distant reality that existed in a different city, your past one. But there she was, naked, on your wall, and there I was, naked, in your bed. And you walked back into the room with a big smile, and I felt that. You cried in my arms. You told me how much you cared for me, and how you've been trying to reach out, and how you think about me, and how I thought about you too, for a while. When I swore it was the last time. But now you've gone and cried in my arms, and you're on mystery. You're just a boy, funny little mess of a boy, and I can't fault you for that. Because I made you so big in my head. I made you stand over me and have these huge clown-like shoes. And I know now more than ever, this won't be the last time. There will never be the last time. Because even when we're done, even when we decide to take our space, something will come and happen. And I only want to talk to you about it. This is called Sunshine. It's about my stepdad who passed away about 2 years ago. I went for my mom for her birthday. In those days, sun shone on your cheeks, and you sat on the chaise lounge in the kitchen and read a book with the smell of coffee drifting up to my room. The house was warm. Cozy sun was warm because the sun had shone through the halls. In those days, the kitchen was always clean in a way that if you looked at it, it was pretty high. But if you looked closer into the doors, whole other world was all. The world of old batteries and strangely shaped screwdrivers. In those days, the bike was always adored in the living room with the wall, the garage, the trunk. We had coffee next to the bike shop, and I always stopped for gas stations before we had a nap. In those days, that sunshine warmed your cheeks. They were always smiling, believing the flames of the sun were put out, and the rooms of the house were cold, the memories of days prior to was warm. And you can sometimes still see the sunshine, but in your bones, it keeps us capped. And the upward curves of your mouth often remind us with flashes of sunshine. I'm a non-binary, queer, documented person here in San Antonio. And it's titled 3, 2, 1. Breathe. Porque si no, when mamá calls and asks me how ¿cómo estás? And I lay it with her and I just break. Respiro, because I know the next thing she will be telling me is to give it to Diosito. Breathe. Porque to her, he knows it all, he sees it all, and so does she. But what my mom doesn't know is that every day I walk looking back, every second pacing a bit faster, because any minute my chest will implode a bit more than the day before. And at this point, it's not just because of my lack of papeles or ganas or porque mis pilas are out. It's because I constantly fear that everything I am today will be taken away any second of every minute. Dios eats me. Respira. I want Mama to know this, but I hold back because Diosito can't save me from the thoughts of homophobia, xenophobia, transphobia, and everything that affects my people and I. Pero como siempre, I breathe. 3, 2, 1, respiro. This sent into your what ifs. Oh, little me, how I wish to have been there for you, to hold you on those nights you wish you could have become air. But little me, realize that today we can be together, that I love you and me. With the good and the bad, you are my day one. You are beautiful. Even if mom told you that your pancita is too much at the age of 10. And no, little one, you do not live in the shadows of your friends who have less pierna or panza than you. Little one, you are not less for a language you cannot even begin to understand. And trust me, Spanish is better than English. Don't let them tell you that it's not a thing. Little one, becoming a mother at the age of 10 is not normal, but it's a damn beautiful thing seeing your little brother grow into the person he could have become. Little one, you are worthy. You are loved. Because now this full-grown body can live with the hair that grows in your arms, your pits, to keep you warm. Now your pancita is seen by the world and by mama without a care. We no longer seek for a size 2, but for a damn good pair of pants that hug every inch of belonging to the day you discovered at Ramos Crema. Little one, our body has changed. I love you, and I love me.
And she prayed to her God to bless her with love and beauty. And she prayed, and to bless her with strength and wisdom. And she prayed to be blessed with the ability to win with goodness and not to give into torture. And she wanted to be the light in the world of darkness. Oh, but how the human nature is ripped with fear and loneliness and uncertainty. And why can't we all just get along? And, well, humans will be human, and she'd scream, mind your fucking business to her neighbors. And she'd leave the bread untied and the ripple stale, and she'd pile the dishes, and she'd throw the trash under her bed, and she'd never wash her clothes, and she'd hide them in her 4th bedroom. She'd tell her children to go play in traffic. She'd tell her parents to fuck off. She'd blame her kids for her laziness, and she'd use the child support to paint her nails. Then she'd pick up lessons.
I got 2 pieces. I got 2 shit. First one is new shit.
Shit this now.
I don't bleed. Other women call it magical. Call me lucky. Call me blessed. I don't spend money on feminine products. No pads. No heating pads. I have no monthly visitor. I've never woken up to stains on my bed. I don't have your reasons to buy Snickers, rock and roll ice cream, pretzels, and pickles. I, unlike them, am a natural asshole with no menstruation mood swings to blame. Never bloated because of my period. I'm just always magically plump. The women in my family get heavy flows though. Mother Nature don't knock. She breaks down the door for my sisters at my house. It doesn't rain, it thunders, it pours, it overflows, they hurt, they pain, and our walls tremble when they cringe, when they cramp. Faucets are not the only ones that run. Days off work and pain, discomfort and such. But this is their price to being women. Does this make me less woman? That I'm lucky, blessed according to them. Awkward conversations amongst family and friends discussing it's their time of the month, and there I am quiet as a mouse. Because again, am I not worthy? Did God think I didn't need one? Or did he forget about me? Did he not have a final decision about who I'd be? Is this why I'm gender fluid too, maybe? I recently found out after several tests that I am fertile. I can get pregnant, silently with no declaration of blood. I can get pregnant, be fine for 5 months, but I can't carry no baby to the finish line. 3 babies in 5 years, I am a human grave. But it wasn't my choice, you see. I also learned that sex too young can stunt your growth, confuse your body, and fuck up time. Meaning, rape at 7 didn't just take my childhood, tears, soul, and dreams. It took my blood. It took the womanhood many complain about. And I question now if maybe that's why I mourn my children within, because I promise I can hear their cries at times. And maybe that's why there's no telltale sign. And maybe that's why I'll never feel them in between these arms of mine. So don't call me lucky, or blessed, or magical, because I get no reminders every month of what I would have wished never fucking happened.
name their new horses. New, majestic horses with their beautiful coats posed by their trainers for a picture. But to think, horses are such unique creatures, great animals whose survival mechanism is flight, who can be desensitized from frightening stimuli. They forgive but never forget. They ask for their names because there is pride in names. While they've forgotten their own criminals, massacred women and children, and erased their names. While they can't resolve crimes their own have done. But what is a name? Is a name important to someone who saw a man meant to protect their border shoot a woman point blank? Did it matter if she had a name, that she was named Melissa Ramirez? What about someone who struggled to find the right name to adorn her soul after knowing for long she was meant to be a woman? Did her name not matter also? Janelle Ortiz. What is the name to a family whose daughter struggled and was a mother? Was her name of less value? Will her kids remember her without a name? Claudia and Nuera. Do we choose names for our loved ones with the lightest of hearts and intentions? Can we name our children and think maybe one day their name didn't matter? Maybe their name didn't suit them? Griselda Cantú. Do names disappear into thin air after you die with your mother, or because you died in the hands of your father? Again, a man in uniform meant to protect us. 30 stab wounds for her, and several stab wounds for his 1-year-old to the heart and neck. Did it account for nothing? He killed you near a border. Griselda Hernandez and Dominique Hernandez. If they were so driven to kill, what can be said about how they care for anyone crossing our border? How do we account for the nameless entry in our country, the ones not on official records? And many chime in thinking that they did their job to purge Texas of who they think are insignificant. Women, children, trans women, and sex workers. Because all this state teaches is that they crucified women, children, and trans women in the name of their God. And as children of God, men decide their fate, right? Maybe they should name their horses names with intention. We can call one murder for who they fucking are. Another one misogynistic for how they care are women only. A third one piece of shit. And the fourth one heartless for what they lack. To think names for horses are more important than the names you stopped saying to avoid being guilty, right? Because these women's names vanished the day they were killed, and Border Patrol didn't do anything to acknowledge their lack of character, because these examples don't matter with their mission to protect our border, but from who? With core values like vigilant service to the country and integrity, vigilance to find who to kill, service for their country or their godlike confidence, and integrity to being what? Monsters? Border Patrol thought names for horses would be more important. Maybe one day our worth would be more than horses.
First time. This feels so weird. Oh my god. I know I'm losing my cherry tonight. Should I freestyle one? Alright, I'll do it. It's called Coming Out. Coming out is a dream. Coming out is a privilege. Coming out is being reborn. Dreaming of the dreams where no bigotry is no longer among us, where we can celebrate all of the pride we want for all the newcomers to come. No one has to hide. Everyone can show their rainbows and sunshines, harness and leather, everything else in between. It's a privilege for those who don't have to dream. Acceptance by others, by family members. Those who love them for who they are don't have to worry about being out on the streets and looking for a new home. But those who come out and be reborn and be proud of being on those streets and looking for a family because they are here and home and they're coming. Because fuck that shit, blood is thicker than water. Yeah! Ain't nothing thick about it. The only thickness that I had is 6 inches of my That's the thickness I like. But I've been reborn. I found myself spiritually, mentally, never caring about what family have to say. This is who I am. Daddy J has been born and we've been reborn. And I'm back. Thank you.
Good job, y'all doing so good tonight. Sometimes, my imposter syndrome grabs me by the throat. Each finger, a syllable saying you are not enough, a fist full of how dare you take up space, cocked back,
preparing to strike, looking me dead in the eye with audacity for irises. There are times when I say that I'm worthy and it feels like a lie. Like wishful thinking, having dinner with, yeah, right, I don't know exactly when I acquired this type of self-doubt, but I think it may have entered my house around the age of learning. From the moment that I began to remember, I could see the face of ignominy, admonishment, waiting to rear its head at the slightest of misdeeds, each wrongdoing, garnered punishments, often unbefitting the crime I recall. Gunpowder fueled fear cocked to the back of head at age 9, and I wish that was a metaphor. But my wrongs were always too wrongs, and my victories never rights. I never learned how to take up space and not feel the need to apologize. And isn't that just like generational trauma? Like scars passed through bloodlines. See, I went to bed last night with a question on my mind, a wondering of how to unlearn everything that my past had taught me to internalize. Googled how to pry fingers from neck, found the suicide hotline instead, and thought, shit, Google don't know me like that. Except it does. Knows exactly how many times I've searched the definitions of words that I know just to prove to myself that I do. Even my own knowledge cannot feel like the truth with nails still piercing my skin. This grip, it feels familiar. Like an old friend greeting me each time I open my mouth to breathe. I work hard to rest myself free. Remember that my bones be music, so my gait be symphony. Slowly, I remind myself what it feels like to be a miracle. To be a woman walking on water after they threw me out to sea. See, despite how it began, today is another day. I will have managed to borrow courage I did not know I had from a future self, and I will have to do so tomorrow as well.
Sometimes I miss church. I miss getting lost in the music and raising my hand in worship, feeling like God was in the room with me. I miss having the belief that reciting a specific prayer every Sunday washed me of all the sins from that week. I miss the community of being around people who believed in the same things that I did. But today, my grandmother pulled me aside to scold me about reading tarot cards, and I was reminded that leaving the church was the best thing for me. In the sweetest old lady from the west side of San Antonio voice, my grandma said to me, "Mija, when you do that, you're working with Satan. Sure, it feels good, but then he takes the good away, and that's how you keep going back." When you read your cards, you let in all the bad stuff, all the demons. That's why you have nightmares. That's why you see things in your room. That's why you have depression and anxiety. But when you stop doing that stuff and rely on God, He rewards you. He protects you, and He never takes that away. I just smile and nod along to whatever she's saying, because I don't know how to tell her that when I spent all my free time in the church, devoted my life in all aspects to God, prayed every day and spoke about His Word every chance I got, even slept with holy oil on my nightstand, that's when I was the most depressed. That's when sleep paralysis demons plagued me nightly. In my dreams, I recited the prayer my grandmother told me to say to get the demons to leave. My prayers turned into faith-filled begging, scared to death about what was going to happen, and that's when the demon locked my mouth shut, told me that God couldn't save me. I remember waking up with a sore jaw and tasting metal from my bleeding tongue. How can I tell her that before I read my cards, I pray for God to protect me? I ask Him to show me what I need to know, or to help me process the situation through my cards. How do I tell her that that is how I feel closest to Him? And how do I tell her that putting holy oil in the corners of rooms and chanting for a higher power to bring protection and banishing evil from entering her space is also witchcraft? That Christianity's roots can be traced back to paganism, and that decorating the Christmas tree is a pagan ritual. How do I explain to her that when my life was devoted to religion is when the demons felt closest to me? That during that time was the time that I made my first attempt, and that I attempted regularly. That the anxiety was so intense that I couldn't eat, and I lost an unhealthy amount of weight far too quickly. That the fear of falling asleep and seeing that sleep paralysis demon was greater than my will to live. Or what if I just tell her a different truth? I mean, I still have my faith,
God is still in my heart, but my idea of what it is different to me now. God to me is the energy all around us and the energy within us. God lives in me in my smile, in the love that I share freely, in the acceptance of differences and the celebrations of them too. I see God in my best friend, when she is kind and gentle with the hearts that are deemed unworthy. I see God in my daughter when her laughter rings like bells, and I can feel her joy make its way through my body. I wish I could tell her that God is not in the rules of religion, that religion was made by man in an attempt to understand a higher power. But in the same breath, they demanded the followers to lean not on our own understanding, despite religion being an interpretation of someone's own understanding. The book that she holds so dear to her has gone through so many versions, translated with the intent to keep women oppressed. I wish I could tell her that I found God in the most real way to me, that to live a life serving Him is to live a life following my heart, feeling every human emotion, looking at everyone through the lens of love and empathy, and that serving my higher power this way has healed me in ways the church never did. But I know I can't ever tell her this. I love her too much to upset her, and I know that she is also serving Him the best way she knows how. And I see God in her too, so I smile. I lean in to hug her and give her a kiss on the cheek, and with radical honesty I tell her, "Thank you, Grandma. I don't know what I would do without you."
I'm gonna do a poem for you, I'm telling you. This is some really old shit.
Really old shit!
And I felt like doing it anyway. Dear new guy, I probably should have taken the time to learn your name, but it seems like our time has run out. The moment that I saw you walking hand in hand with my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, I just assumed that your name was douchebag. So for the purposes of this letter, I'm just gonna call you Phil. Dear Phil, fuck you. Whereas you probably didn't even know that she already had a boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. It's hard for me to hate the woman that I had vowed to love forever. She and I had talked about forever, so I easily misplaced my anger on you, the stranger that's holding the same hand that I wanted to put a ring on. I never thought that forever had an expiration date. I thought she and I were like water, so as long as we were never stagnant, we were good for something. But then came you, Phil. Fuck you, Phil. You were born on her smile like the end of a good book. She was a happy ending written in the story that we were penning daily, but our days became shorter. Our nights became restless. Her smile began to attach itself to text messages and private phone calls. We stopped doing us because she said she needed to do her, said she wanted some alone time, but her alone time had her returning home smelling like unnoticeable fragrances. I once mentioned it in conversation, and she said it must have been something that she walked through at the mall. Phil, she hates shopping. Fuck you. But I wrote it off as a one-time event. But events are just one night, like the Super Bowl, a WWE Raw, and this became her life. Her lie became her life. You became her life. So I sit here with this pistol in my hand and this pen, rewriting my story, retelling my ending, wondering if she will be just as shocked to see me as I was to see you holding the last hand that I thought I would hold forever. Feel. I hope that they read this at my funeral, and I hope she cries. And I hope that one day she sees that she killed me for you, and you are now walking around holding the hand of some other woman, and she will be left screaming, I hate you. Dear Phil, fuck you.
It's a compliment, but I'd just like to note that this dress is very purple. It's okay. You're a man, you get a pass. No, you shouldn't get a pass, right? Fuck that. Wait. Okay, so before I do this mom poem, this is not about my mother. It's not about my mom. I just want to give a shout out to my mom because I had 88 cents in my bank account and I don't get paid till tomorrow. And so I messaged my mom, who's in Louisiana, and I said, Mom, I need beer money. And she said, how much? I said, I need a good tip too. Because Mandy and Andrew deserve it. So she said, Andrew deserves it too. Is my 5 minutes up? Is that it? Shit.
I just feel like Mandy and Andrew deserved it.
Yes, they do. They do, because they put up a worship every Wednesday night. So I'm going to put this bear down. After I take a drink. And I'm going to do this very, very old poem that I wrote for a stage play called Karen Chatham 16. My mother by virtue of battered tongue, and my father by virtue of missing face, created the friction, planted the seed that spoke this wildfire into existence for me. I wasn't swaddled and kissed. I was sprinkled with alcohol and acetone fueled by hate. My mother pumped diesel into my juvenile veins where she told me that I would grow to be a structure fire. Blaze a trail of broken homes just like my father. And there was truth in the words that she blistered in my side because I feel the backdraft of his absence each time I raise a hand to caress your face. Each time I wish you'd get your face out of my fucking face. Each time I raise a hand to shut your face. You know you're growing matches and I am butane. My mother made me combustible and ain't no way to put my fire out. Sometimes I scorch your skin digging for glass fragments of me. I don't always mean to hurt you. But my inferno is consuming the branches of my family tree piled high to the sky, and you are a casualty of my raging fire. No one hears my outcry. Just hear me snap, hear me pop, hear me growl, watch my family tree smoldering. They always say that mama knows best. My mama knew I was mahogany ember. Mama knew I was capable of igniting riot. My mama knew I was flamethrower. She knew I was gaslight. My mother knew that I would turn every ebony coal I touch into a pyramid of ash long before she planted this seed. I can't help the cobalt flame that I become. I am a product of what my mother spoke into me.
Cuppycake. Powerful stuff. Powerful. Some of you might not know this, but Juneteenth is coming up. So I have a brand spanking new Juneteenth poem.
Oh, shit! My father will love this.
Now, for those of you who don't know anything about Juneteenth, listen to the words and follow what it tells you, and you can celebrate Juneteenth. Sometimes I am so busy projecting an image society demands, I forget who I am and what is important. 3 days ago, I realized I had forgotten who I was and was lost. But then I went to a family barbecue and found myself. Found myself in the way my beer sipping, white towel around the neck wearing, favorite uncles be grilling. I found myself within the fluffy waves of the homemade egg white whipped meringue of my auntie's banana pudding. I found myself in the squinty-eyed laughter of Big Mama's smile as she yelled to the back of the kitchen, "Y'all stop arguing over my collard greens. There's plenty more in that big pot in the counter." Yeah, buddy. I found myself as I watched my sister pour
just a little more of pickle juice into the potato salad before stirring. I smiled when I recognized myself in my great-nephew's question. Gigi, did you bring your macaroni and cheese? Seeing, being part of that love, that family love, I found myself and was whole. Food tastes better with family and laughter, and that is important. I found myself when I saw a brother-in-law. Let me say that again. Brother-in-law pile and balance 3 plates of food into 1 plate. There was turkey and a slab of barbecue pork rib. There was chicken drumsticks, in which all the kids called dibs. There was spicy sausage and 1 last chicken thigh part. But old Pa, he's still the only one that sucks neck bone like art. You got your stuffing and dressing and mashed potatoes so nice, and all of the dishes that contain some rice. You got your broccoli cheese and rice, black-eyed peas and rice, red beans and rice, gravy and rice, butter and rice. Well, we don't actually use butter because of that price, but we do use margarine, and that's quite nice. But nobody, and I said nobody in my family sprinkles sugar on their rice. You got macaroni and cheese and collard greens with fat back. And the cornbread or white bread or 3 bump roll is on the top of the stack. Brother-in-law could balance. At every gathering, we feast and laugh and exaggerate stories like how our spouses and significant others could not live without us. Only to be reminded by Gran or Papa or Grandma Ola that there is strength in truth. Boy, stop that line. You know your nose was wide open for her. Family eruptions of laughter are loud, joyfully loud. Folks be eating and laughing and telling stories of histories almost lost. Without gatherings like these, what would be the cost? I found myself. I was whole. And quietly, over the centuries, through the Middle Passage, through slavery, through Jim Crow, and all the way up until today, there has been fellowship and celebration through family and communal meals. These meals sustain us. And when I say these meals sustain us, the word sustain us is a metaphor.
Okay, I have new shit for y'all.
New shit!
Is it like in my soft throw era shit? So, the thing about queer poetry is it often has a gut punch at the end, a stab in the back, or punch in the face. There aren't usually any happy endings, and what should we expect from a community constantly undermined and ostracized in both love and existence? I've been told to write what I know, and what I know is this. My family prayed for me to find a wife since the age of 15. I did not grow up thinking marrying a man would be possible. As a result, I did not think love beyond lust was an option for me. I know that family, whether chosen or bloodline, can both be difficult, and I know that friends come and go when you need them the most. It is the cycle of life, that love not be a possession, and if it were, love not be a haunting. I'm writing this poem as a manifestation. Usually I keep my prayers to myself, but this one I felt worthy to share with you all tonight. One day, when the sun sets on a windy fall evening, my man will cradle me like candy in his 2 arms, and I will melt and ask how his day was. There will be music in the background, a candle burning by the sink, and cats. Oh, yes, cats. On Sundays, we will wake up to reset the house before Monday. On Sundays, we will visit our families to remind them what love can look like. May we be a lesson that is received but never has to be reinforced, never questioned, never compared or conquered. May we be loved in all of its facets, and how the sun will wait for us to shine. and how the radio will wait for us to sing. I pray my man never know the coldness my family once froze me over with, that I never have to guess my place with them, that our month of Sundays become a year of eternity, become eternity. I've been told to write what I know, and though this not be in my toolbox yet, I do know this. I am blessed and highly favored. I am protected. I am a child of God and native warriors, and the light who loves me. I know that I am ready to meet love halfway and then some. I know that queer poetry often has a gut punch to an end, but sometimes it is beautiful, and sometimes it is triumphant. I know this because I too am a queer poem. My hair reeks a soliloquy, my body a haiku, a human on its worst days, a lover on its best. My family no longer prays for me to find a wife now, prays for my safety, for my happiness, and what a miracle unlearning fundamentalism can look like, how it sings on Sunday and waits for love, and waits for love, and waits. I have one more very short poem. This poem is sponsored by Bud Light. The issue has never been Bud Light. Piss water makes for a shitty foundation to stand on anyway. Might as well be splashing in sewer puddles or drinking sweat from a shoe. The issue is not with the rainbow being plastered for 30 days out of your miserable ass ear. The issue is with queer people. Is your comfort level of being around another human different than you? Is seeped into the cold sweats you have when you don't drink for 2 days. The issue is homophobia. Is the fact that being gay would even be considered an issue. Is that there are 8 billion people on earth and you are worried about how 7.1% of them are achieving orgasm. The issue is not an overpriced alcoholic beverage. The issue is with the alcoholic drinking them and projecting their own insecurities. Is the husband that still gets his ass clapped on the down low by a femme like me. Is the fact that 2 girls kissing turns men on and 2 men kissing makes them want to kill us, not fight us. The issue isn't fighting. I've been in many an argument that did not end in me wanting to end someone's life. The issue isn't drag queens influencing your kids. It's you, teaching them your fears that your parents taught you. It's that 2 people loving each other would drive you to hate. It's old white men having a say in lifestyles they will never understand. It's capitalism, it's addiction, it's mental health. The issue is not a fucking beer can making you gay. It's that being gay is considered an issue in the first place.